Let's face it, sometimes D&D games can get pretty dark. As a DM, it's important to handle some of these more mature themes like a pro for a lot of reasons. So let's talk about managing some of the darker aspects of D&D at a table. The first thing you want to do when running a game with darker or more mature themes is to have a session 0. I cannot stress this enough. This is probably the most important aspect of a game, especially one like that. The worst thing you can do is tell players you're going to have a dark game and then not give them any prep or understanding into what that means. For some people, a dark game might mean horror and thrill, while for another person, that could mean skellies and gore. You don't want someone at your table getting uncomfortable when you start diving into the gritty details and they didn't expect it. That's how you have a game fall apart. So sit everyone down and talk about what's okay and what's not, and what you as players and as a dungeon master want at your table. Now next, and to kind of piggyback off of that, is to make sure players feel safe. They need to feel like they can talk to you if something isn't right. Now this can be as simple as, hey, let me know if things go too far. But I've also played at tables where all they have to do is send you an emoji or a safe word, no questions asked, and you as the DM drop the topic and move on. This makes players feel like they can sit at the table and explore these darker topics without feeling the pressure to sit through it if they don't want to. Now the third tip is big, and it's a good communication skill in general. Learn to read the room. You don't have to go into all the details all the time. Sometimes it's okay to mention that X happened or Y event occurred, but you don't need to dive into exactly how the blood splatters the walls or what the carcass looks like. They'll get the picture. So if you see people getting short or fidgety or giving you weird looks, just move on. No single moment in your campaign is worth making your players feel like they don't want to go to the next session just because you didn't know how to stop. Now, when it comes to actually running the game, moral ambiguity is key. That's tip number 4. What I mean is that the reason that Game of Thrones is so riveting is because nobody is the hero. There is no singular side that is right or wrong. Everyone has their reasons for doing what they do, even the messed up shit. So when running a game like this, the key to setting that tone is to make it known that the bad guys are angry because of the death in their family that Bob caused, and Bob is mad because of the throne that was taken from him before that. It's sort of a vicious circle. Everyone has a reason, and they let their emotions drive them to extremes. This moral ambiguity lets your players know that there is no real right character or wrong character, at least not really. Now, number 5 is to let them know that actions have consequences. At some tables, players can walk into a city, kill some guards, and leave. They never feel the sting of the kingdom because they're the main characters. Who could possibly stand up to them? Only the bad guys, of course. So they always feel like they are on top, even when they do messed up things like rob stores or loot bodies in front of everybody. Well, in a world that is dark and grim, that kind of stuff will follow them. If they kill a guard, even if they get away with it and leave the city, that guard's family members will come after them with everything they've got. Every action will have a reaction, and setting that up for them will show them just how grim things are and how far people will be willing to go to exact their revenge. The more they do, the more the world will react, and in a dark setting, it will not always be the best reactions. Now, at number 6, a key is to use the real world as reference. Use history. When you look at history, even recent history, you can see all the messed up things we have done. Conquistadors, the War of the Roses, the Tudors, the revolutions and world wars, world leaders taken out just for speaking out. These are all things that we may have become numb to, but are all real events. You can use pivotal moments like these in your own fantasy world as inspiration. In fact, I always suggest you do that because they just make your world feel more real. You'd be surprised at some of the dark we've done in our past when you really start looking into obscure history. And if while you're perusing all of that history, if you want to take some quick notes, let me talk to you about Describe really quick. Now, Describe has everything you could need to make your session pop to life in one spot. They have ambience, music, descriptions, maps, all right there for you. And what really makes it stand out to me is that it also gives you a way to take your notes, break them up, section them, and individually create soundscapes for each so that you know exactly where you are in your session without accidentally playing the battle music early and scaring your players or something. Now, if you want to check them out, click the link in the description down below and use my code FANTASYFORGE at checkout. And finally, the last tip is to have the bad guys win. Now, I don't mean that your players don't have a chance. That would suck and it just wouldn't be fun. But what I mean is that when they save a person, things don't go right. Again, Game of Thrones is a master at this. The good guys won't save the day. They get lost. They get captured. They lose their hands. They don't make it. Every person they feel will help them is a victim to the craziness of the bad guys. This is the single most important way to show them the cruelty and grimness of the world that you are trying to paint. They meet somebody who has an army that will come and rescue them. Well, the bad guys are one step ahead and they get an ambush on them. The army never comes and the party has to rethink while picking their jaws up off the floor. Every single moment could be another twist and turn. The Red Wedding in Game of Thrones is a good one, and just one of those moments that takes something so wholesome, like two people in love getting married, and rips it away from us. Doing that to your players, with their knowledge and consent and preparedness, is how you make a game go from fantasy to high stakes, dark fantasy. So there you go. I hope this helped. That was just some quick tips on running a game with dark themes. Now, running a dark game is hard, and it takes a lot of finesse. So let me know in the comments down below what you do, and tell me how you would run a game if you were running one like this. And now it's time for some quick shoutouts. Assassin Charizard says, Tobias always just looks prepared. Yeah, don't let him fool you. That's just his cuteness. He's always prepared. Can9059 says, Tobias at 253. Good catch. Hibiscuit5708 says, hello, Tobias. Also love this video. Really helped me start thinking more about my world building. Well, that's literally all I'm here for, so I really hope the video helped, and I appreciate the kind words. Now, if you were paying attention in today's video, leave a timestamp in the comments down below with where you saw Tobias, and you just might get shouted out in the next video. As always, thank you for watching. Forge on, my friends, and we'll see you next time, adventurers.